What is up guys, it's Aswell here, back again with another Classic WoW video. This time we are talking about the future of Classic WoW and some upcoming changes to Wrath of the Lich King Classic that you guys might not have, that you might have missed because, well, this is a blue post that was posted on Wowhead and also on the WoW forums, but they haven't really talked about it anywhere else, so let's have a look at the blue post and discuss some of these changes. Wrath of the Lich King Classic provides new opportunities to make a few changes that will improve the gameplay experience in the next chapter of Classic WoW. In this developer update, the World of Warcraft Classic team takes you through some of those changes and what they can mean for the future of Wrath Classic. So first off, hashtag some changes. When World of Warcraft Classic first launched, it followed a very strict design pillar, hashtag no changes. At Blizzard, we faithfully recreated World of Warcraft as it existed in 2006, with as few changes as possible, while still making it able to run in the more modern environment of 2019. But World of Warcraft did not stop in 2006. It continued to evolve and changed over the years, so we re-released the Burning Crusade expansion last year in 2021, and plans are underway to re-release the Wrath of the Lich King expansion. That being said, as we do re-release this expansion, we find the design pillar, hashtag no changes, is not sufficient anymore. With World of Warcraft expansions, there came design changes to the game, and some of those changes were not consistent with the way classic World of Warcraft felt. It is undeniable that the latest 2021 modern version, Shadowlands, feels very different than the OG launching game in 2004. Where should the evolution of the game stop if we want to retain that classic feeling, even while releasing new content? Many players today choose to play Classic WoW because they love that feeling, and they don't want it to be lost. This one's true. The World of Warcraft Classic team has given this a lot of thought, and we would like to share it with you today, our design pillars, for what we call hashtag some changes. Nurture and protect social experiences. The first and most important design pillar is nurture and protect social experiences. The compelling social experiences within World of Warcraft are why many of us first fell in love with the game itself. To retain these experiences, we want to help players build friendships and deepen their relationships with parties, raid teams, guilds, and server communities. Online social experiences are a complex phenomenon and can be very easy to damage. Positive relationships build community, reduce toxicity, and forge friendships that have kept players coming back to our game for many years. We need to nurture and protect these relationships. One very big key to this is providing social proximity in our game, or what some cognitive scientists call repeat serendipitous interactions. I hope I said that correctly. Put a little bit more simply, you need multiple interactions over time with the same people in a way that feels happy or beneficial. Classic WoW provided this in abundance, where you would often meet the same people from day to day while running through the Stranglethorn jungle, or on your way to a Scarlet Monastery run, or heading into Black Mountain for a raid. As we roll out new expansions for WoW Classic, the pillar of protecting this social proximity helps inform our decisions about features like, for example, dungeons, raids, questing, phasing, and tools for finding parties and raid members. When we make changes to Wrath of the Lich King Classic, we will make changes that help maintain social proximity, and in so doing, nurture and protect social experiences. So after reading this, it kind of makes more sense why they actually removed the dungeon finder, or the random dungeon finder, and replaced it with the current version that we have right now on the Wrath beta. This one is way easier to use, and it's not randomized. You have to keep a name or a reputation for yourself, and also the random dungeon finder grouped you together with totally random people across different servers as well, while now you still have to keep your reputation, and you still have to group up with the same people, or like there's a bigger chance of you grouping up with the same people several times to build that relationship, now that the dungeon finder or finding groups is not randomized and automized. You have to do it manually, so that kind of makes sense when I read this. That being said, from an ease of access standpoint, I would want the random dungeon finder there, especially while leveling up from level 1 to level 70, but in northern dungeons, like having the one we have right now on the beta is definitely fair, and it's very easy to use as well. I'm actually positively surprised about what it looks like right now on the beta. Next up then, the world is the main character. The third and final design pillar of the classic WoW team is, the world is the main character. I skipped the second pillar, by the way. You can go and check it out on the post itself if you want to look at the entire thing, but I skipped that one because it's not really that important to me personally, or it goes through a lot of things that I don't really want to talk about in this video, simply because it's kind of self-explanatory. So we want you to maintain the feeling of being immersed in a living world of Warcraft. We love your exploration and your player-driven stories, and want to make sure that you have a reason to visit various locations in the world over and over again. Gathering and crafting professions are important to that sense of world, and of its economy, thank you for saying that one, where you are interacting with thousands of other players in a vibrant player community. Reduce the amount of botting, and we might actually be interacting with thousands of other players and not bots this time around. This pillars means we need to preserve the world that we have created from excessive changes. Well, if you want the old world to still be relevant, once again, ban the bots. You should be able to collect the lost pages of Green Hills of Stranglethorn, to rescue the town of Darkshire from Stitches, or to return to Tempest Keep and face off against Prince Kael'thas one more time, and hope for a rare mount drop. You should be able to tell your personally unique stories about your exploits, even as you follow along the epic stories of Azeroth's most famous personalities. So personally, I'm a huge fan of the slogan, the world is the main character. This was something Vanilla WoW did perfectly. The world was the main character, you were just a regular player living in the world of Azeroth, exploring everything, doing everything. You were basically just a random person, or an NPC, but a playable NPC, just starting at level 1, starting with nothing, and working your way up to doing dungeons and raids, and there were just so many things to do in the open world itself. You almost always had a reason to visit every single zone, no matter what level you were in the game itself. I don't know if that's the feeling we're ever going to get back, like in TBC Classic. This feeling has already kind of gone away, and I do think it's going to be the same with Wrath as well, but I would like to see that they are trying to preserve this feeling in some way, shape or form. I just don't think it will ever be what it was in Vanilla WoW. So let's talk a little bit about what all of this means. Those pillars can come across feeling very abstract, so we want to give you a concrete example of how we are applying them to changes for Wrath of the Lich King Classic. We are taking a hard look at itemization in that expansion, and have decided to make some changes that we think will help improve the experience. Taking our pillars and applying them to itemization, we have come up with 4 goals for making changes to Wrath of the Lich King itemization. The first one is fostering a vibrant player ecosystem, there we go, engaging in all Wrath of the Lich King instanced content. Next one, maintain a healthy density of players playing or enjoying heroic dungeons throughout the entire expansion. Third one, preserve nostalgic itemization elements. And lastly, provide a consistent itemization scheme across all of the expansion's phases. That first goal is all about nurturing our WoW communities. We know players in Burning Crusade Classic have experienced a great environment with raiding. Players are active in multiple raids at all 4 raid tiers, participating in both 10-player and 25-player raids, and raiding with their alts and in pickup groups at all tiers. We want to make sure that continues in Wrath. To further this, we have been exploring a lot of ideas that we have decided not to implement at this time, such as for example 10-player and 25-player raids dropping the same items, heroic dungeons getting improved drops, or increasing the starting difficulty of heroic dungeons. One change we have decided to make is to increase the health and the damage of monsters in Naxxramas, basically giving us a buffed version of Nax. Our 2008 design intention was for it to be a little easier than the 2006 original, but we missed the mark and it ended up much easier than we intended. Bringing up the difficulty a bit will make for a more fun and interesting challenge, while awaiting the opening of Ulduar. I think this is a change that most people that have played on Wrath servers before will be happy with, because Naxxramas was really the easiest tier of all time. The second goal is about making sure that the heroic dungeons stay attractive throughout the entire expansion, not just the first phase. The emblems and items they drop should always be valuable, even late in the expansion. They should also remain as an interesting challenge throughout the entire expansion, rather than becoming excessively easy, as your gear improves. We are exploring plans to add the challenges to heroic dungeons as the expansion proceeds, which would also provide more valuable rewards. I don't know why, but this one kinda gives me Mythic Plus vibes, so maybe we'll see something like that. We also want to preserve nostalgic itemization, so no matter what changes we make, we will ensure that all Wrath of the Lich King raid and dungeon items can still be acquired, as well as their unique art. Finally, the itemization and raid lock systems for Wrath of the Lich King evolved several times during the expansion. Rather than changing per phase, we want to make it more consistent. This means that emblems should drop and work in the same way every single tier, set pieces should be acquired the same way every tier, and ideally, raid lockouts should function the same way every tier. To support this, both 10-player raids and 25-player raids will drop emblems of valor at launch, while dungeons will drop emblems of heroism, matching the design pattern for emblems that was used in the Trial of the Crusader patch and Icecrown Citadel patch. So that is pretty much it, some minor changes, some major changes, and this is a really important blue post about the future of Classic WoW in general, and at least Wrath Classic, because it does tell us something about what kind of changes Blizzard are willing to make to the game itself, and we have to avoid this game going down the same path as retail, because, well, to be honest, in retail, after Wrath, it was all pretty much downhill, so if we are going to continue further on, we have to make some changes, and we have to make the right ones. Either way, that is pretty much it for today. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like down below and subscribe for more Wrath content. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again very soon.